Welcome to Sykes Peak. Join us as we speak with experts, share inspiring stories, and provide actionable advice to help you reach your psychological peak. So get ready to embark on a journey of self-discovery, growth, and empowerment. We're glad to have you following us along on Sykes Peak. Today we're going to start our podcast by just this first podcast is session 1, episode 1, and today we're going to start our podcast by just kind of giving you an introduction to who we are and why in the world would you want to listen to two guys on a podcast called Sykes Peak. So I'm going to interview Sean and let him tell us a little bit about himself. Sean, where are you from originally?
Such a complicated question to answer for me. Yeah, I get that. I've had that question a lot in life, and I don't think I've ever found a short answer for it. I think the best place to start, I was born in Charleston, South Carolina, here in the U.S., but my parents decided when I was around 7, 8 years old to commit their lives to being missionaries overseas. And so I grew up mostly in the Middle East, the Mediterranean, Europe, and then around college came back here to the States, and I've been in the States ever since. By the time I was 17, I had traveled to 21 countries, most of them just visiting, just kind of popping in and saying hey and grabbing a t-shirt and leaving. But lived, I would say, longer term, Jordan, Cyprus, Belgium, Germany.
Where'd you go to high school?
Black Forest Academy in Germany. It's a private Christian high school for missionary kids, or
conjures up an idea in my head. Black Forest, Germany. I'm thinking Hansel and Gretel. I'm thinking, this deep, dark forest that you needed cookie crumbs to find your way out, so.
Well, actually, Black Forest comes from the black magic that was practiced there.
What a place to put missionary kids is what I'm saying.
The significance of the location was actually because if you draw a circle around Europe, it is the dead center of Europe. And so the school was centrally located for, as sort of like a mecca, so to speak, for kids to go to school and not have to travel as far in Europe, at least.
That is incredible. I think that's just a great place, but it taught you a lot.
Loads.
Yeah.
Those life experiences to the max with me.
Right. And then you served in the Navy for a while.
Briefly, yes. Had a lot of jobs.
You were a submariner?
Submariner. That's what I was trained in, and can't talk a lot about it.
You'd have to kill me.
Yeah.
You're a little tall for a submarine, aren't you?
Yeah, a little over 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 6 foot. You got to duck a lot.
Was it cramped in a sub?
I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. What was the longest period of time that you were underwater?
Let's see. Probably in training, they put you into a lot of stuff. But I can't recall.
I mean, but was it days? I mean, were you under? I mean,
couldn't really recall.
Can't really tell. All right. Well, let me ask you this question: Why do you think you should do a podcast?
Why not? Why not? I mean, I think that my life experiences give me a very unique perception on the world. There's a lot of talk in our age about acceptance of other people and what does that look like and how do you go about doing it, and also maintaining your values and also maintaining your sense of unique identity. And so I think that my experiences would benefit in helping kind of represent perspectives for people to think about that they might not normally get.
In talking about perspective, one of the things that we wanted to do with this podcast was to do this from a biblical worldview.
Yes.
The impact of Christianity upon our society, upon our world. We both have a pretty good understanding of the secular aspect of life, and probably have some experiences that we'll share along the way that deal with that. But as far as talking about how to handle issues and problems and things in your life that have created issues for you, that we'll be dealing with those things from a biblical perspective. And I think your education, growing up, as a kid, and the experiences that you had, I know some of them, and of course I kind of get a big kick out of it, but there are those experiences left you with information for other people on how to live their lives and how to be somewhat of a guide to help people to understand how to deal with issues.
Truly.
Yeah. So what would be one thing that you would want our listeners to know about you, that it's not one of those, what's one secret that nobody knows?
Right.
But what would you want people to know about you and why you do what you do?
Well, I would say the one thing is that my faith is probably the most important thing in my life. I mean, starting off most of my life living overseas, living in different cultures, having to have an anchor point, having to have something to keep yourself rooted in something as you go out into the world, into these different cultures where you don't know what your experiences are going to be. You don't know if you're going to have a lot of friends in this culture or not. You don't know if this is going to be the school that you're going to mesh well with. You don't know if this is the job that you're going to be able to fit into and understand and be skilled enough at. You have to have an anchor point to be able to go into those roles and to go into those situations. So for me, I think the single thing that has been true in my life has been my faith and my relationship with God.
Awesome. Absolutely. Yeah. So, well, what's the mission for this podcast? Go ahead and share. No.
Yeah.
To slowly take over the world.
Yeah, slowly take over the world. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, one listener, one mind at a time.
That's right.
I know. I know that my life experiences and some of my education, some of my formal education and training with psychology and counseling, added in tandem with your life experiences and far more formidable education than my own, I think play together well in helping people enrich their lives and give them good meaning, direction, guidance, assistance for their problems and their struggles and their efforts. So I think that's our goal and mission here at Sykes Peak, to increase the quality of life for our listeners.
Awesome. Yeah, I think so too. One of the reasons that when we first started talking about this, 6 months ago, I guess.
Right.
And that one of the things that we played on was each other's stories and each other's experiences. And we started realizing that, we got a lot of stuff in our minds and experiences that we've had, and that, these are some of the things that we can share with people to help them to have a better understanding of their life too.
A lot of mileage.
Yeah. I'm not getting bald
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
as far as no bald tires here, so, but anyway. Okay, well, my turn.
All right.
Introduction. Just introduce myself. I'm Keith Roach. I usually go by D. Period. Keith Roach. I don't use my first name hardly ever. The only time was in the 8th grade, and and I've got stories about that. I had a 8th grade homeroom teacher that called out names one day, and she got done calling out the names, and she said, "Is there anyone's name I didn't call?" I raised my hand because I didn't hear Keith, and she said, "What is your name?" She's a Southern black lady. I, loved her to death, but Mrs. Upton. And she said, I said, "My name's Keith Roach." And she said, "Is your name Doug?" And I said, "Well, yes, my first name's Douglas, but I go by Keith." Nobody in the room knew me as Douglas,
Right.
So she said, "From now on, we will refer to you as Doug." And so for the whole 8th grade, I was called Doug.
Wow.
And even my friends were like, they didn't know, they were confused,
Right.
because it was, do I call him Keith? Do I call him Doug? What, But anyway, I go by D. Keith Roach. Anyway, the little bit of education, about 14 years of education beyond high school. So I have a PhD in psychology and counseling, and from Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary. They don't have that program anymore because for some reason psychology is a evil word now. And they have, they call it something else. I don't even know what they call it now, but human relations or church, and it's not church relations, but anyway, it's counseling education now, so, but it has helped me in the area. I've worked as a counselor, psychologist, if you will, for 28 years. I taught during that 28 years, I taught college for about 26 of it. And I haven't retired by any means. I'm involved deeply in Summit Christian University, and I am trying to make sure that works and that people get a good, solid biblical education. And married to my wife 44 years, even though she thinks it's 43.
Yeah.
But 44 years, and have 3 grown children and 2 grandchildren. And so I'm excited to get to spend time with them, watch them grow up, and they're opening my eyes to things that I forgot, 15 years ago, and raising children. So it's a blessing to have 2 grandsons. Let's see, why should we do a podcast? Like I said a few minutes ago, as we were talking 6 months ago, we were just kind of gabbing between each other and came to a point where we both realized that, hey, this is something that, other people might be interested in. And so, it's time to share that and let that happen. And so, we've been working on it, trying to put it together, get all the equipment. We have a production engineer, Connor Jackson, and he's going to do us right, I'm sure. And so we'll probably pick on him quite often, but
for the latter,
yeah,
he'll come after us,
right. And so I'm with you on the mission to slowly take over the world, and
good goal.
Yeah, it is, and well, and beyond that, that we want to share our experiences and issues that we've dealt with throughout our counseling experiences, and that we are that we want to teach and train other people, what to do with their lives and how to handle issues in their lives. So, beyond that, I am always open. And one of the things that we want to warn our listeners about is that we tend to chase rabbits, and we are we're very good at that, and we understand the whole concept of tangent, and that we can.
Only thing I learned in math.
Yeah, tangent. Well, there are other aspects to it, and it's probably more of a secant than it is a tangent.
But I was so bad at finding signs.
Yeah.
Just could.
Yeah. So, oh my, we're going to have some issues that we bring up. We want to talk about family. We want to talk about parenting. We want to talk about goals. We want to talk about struggles,
pain, overcoming those
boundaries.
Yes.
We'll even have some issues on depression, anxiety,
right?
How to integrate religion, or how to integrate your belief into your life. So there's a number of things that we will touch as we go through this process. We're hoping that this will be something that will be successful, but also that it will be something that people will want to listen to. And I know this first episode is just kind of a get to know who we are, but I asked you the question, what's one thing you want people to know? I guess it's only fair for me to answer what's one thing that I would want people to know about me. And that is probably my passion for God, and my passion for caring about people. I make no bones about it. I come from a conservative viewpoint on life. I am, all the things that I think about or that I deal with in my life, I measure them against Scripture, and I see the Bible as the gold standard, the measure for which we everything in our life we measure by, and I try to use that as often as possible. And I don't think about it all the time, but when I have to step back and think about something, okay, is there Scripture that supports this? Is this an attitude that I should have, or is this a behavior that I should, carry out? But that's the thing that I want people to know, that I have this deep passion for God and passion to care about His people and care about all people.
That is true of you. I mean, that's the one thing. I don't think there's any question. Anyone who knows you, I think, would have to know that probably pretty quickly.
Well, we have to personify who we are and our character.
Right.
And so many times come across, and this is probably, one of those tangents. So many times you come across people that, from a pulpit, they're saying one thing, and then they walk away from the pulpit and they do something else. And the inconsistency in that character is just eats at me. There are days that I'm probably not consistent. I'm not perfect by any means. But there are also things that I recognize that I need to maintain a consistency. If I said that I was going to do it this way, or I said I was going to do something, then I try to carry that out. And if I don't do that, I'm a clanging cymbal, and so just making sound out in the universe, so. But anyway, I believe would be the end of our first session. We'll see you on the next episode. Another podcast has come to an end, but you can listen to any of our podcasts streaming on YouTube, Spotify, and our website.